Hello, Misfits, and welcome. In today's episode, we are doing another Reddit React video, and today we have a particular theme, which is problem players. Like last time, I have not heard any of these stories. I have not looked at them at all. They have all been curated by our very own Emily Bigler, so I'm going to pass it off to her.
Okay. Our first one is just titled My Problem Player. Pretty succinct, doesn't tell us much. This story happened a while ago. This campaign was my first ever time DMing. I wanted to do so for a long while and came up with an idea about making a campaign based on one of my hyperfixations, and I managed to rope 6 of my friends into it. One of these friends ended up being a problematic player. For clarification, me is the DM and H is problem player. So our adventure starts before the first session has even begun. We were talking about character creation and H had sent me a customized character sheet, whereas the rest of had sent me a sheet made in D&D Beyond. Warning sign number 1. I didn't pay much attention, just the basics like character stats and abilities and such. Now I realize I should have looked further into it. She is a clear character, a human bard, which is cool with me, but suddenly says she wants to change it last minute after hearing all the other characters, human barbarian, half-elf sorcerer, etc., etc. I tell her that it's too late since we're playing in less than an hour. She huffs and we go along. Session 1 goes fantastic. Everyone had a great time and are looking forward to continuing. Session 2 rolls around and, dear Lord, some players catch up on the fact that H is faking her rolls. On checks and hits, she always rolls above a 14 at least and never fails. Warning sign number 2.
Oh no.
But for some reason, she always rolls the lowest out of everyone when it comes to initiative. She also does this in other games, as people have told me. Even so, that another player once said, "Oh, sorry, I calculated wrong. I rolled a 5 instead of a 7. H immediately quipped, "Oh, I also got it wrong. I have a 3, not a 6. H would also roll surprisingly low on personal checks. We had an encounter with an evil wizard and she tried to mock him, so we got mad and attacked her. Now she suddenly rolled a 4. Okay. I just let it slide that one time, but every hit she did was critical damage for some reason, and other players barely had to do anything because she would do everything. That's when my other players and I started to get suspicious. Even so, some of my closest friends said that they would quit the campaign if her behavior didn't change, and that was the last thing I wanted to happen. I'm going to be honest, I was on the verge of quitting too. We made a deal to see how she would act in session 3, and after that make plans on how to go forward. In the meantime, I checked her character sheet along with the others. For a level 1 bard, she had an AC of 18, nearing 19, heavy studded armor, and even multiple legendary magic items I never gave her. I had one of our D&D expert friends, not in the campaign, check it in detail to see what we could get out of it that wasn't right. Session 3, nothing changed. I could tell not everyone was enjoying the game, and it made me really sad. Even so bad, I cried during the last 2 minutes. I was so frustrated and said that this was happening in my first ever game. I got multiple messages from my players that they didn't like the session, but respected my decision to power through. I had a lot of meetings with my players and the other D&D expert friend and came to the conclusion, this wasn't what I wanted in my game. That's when the gaslighting started. Okay, so what do we think so far?
Oh no.
This is
kick that bitch out. Kick the bitch out. Like, no. Just...
This is something that I hear about a lot, though. And, like, maybe we're just rare, decent people, but, like, it just never occurs to me to lie about what I roll. Like, it just, like... I mean, part of the fun is the fact that you might fail hilariously.
Yeah.
Which happens to me a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I'm a player and not a DM, I'm terrible. I roll horribly. Like, but it's funny. I mean, there are some things that I've heard of people doing, like, you can make everybody roll out in front on the table if they're in person, or if it's an online game, they could roll, like, in Roll20, like, roll online.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, those are easy fixes. The magic item stuff is weird.
Yeah.
I wish they talked more about it. I'm like, what were the magic items?
I want to know.
That'd be...
I want to know what they
Oh
are.
man. Now I'm just trying to think of like the most busted magic items that you could have.
Well, and it sucks because like this is a new DM. Like this is a
Mhm.
brand new DM, so that's a lot harder to oh my god, Molly. That's a lot harder to like put your foot down and be like, you know, I think it's impossible for you to roll that. Can you tell me what number you got and what your modifier is? Like that's hard to do as a brand new DM.
Well, and I'm trying to think of, I can't imagine any of us having done that to you, but like taking advantage, like at the beginning when none of us knew as much as we do now, like.
I mean, if everybody's kind of new, why do you need to be better? Like we're all figuring it out at the same time. Why do you have to be the very best?
Yeah, like no one ever was.
I was, yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
was
don't know.
Pokemon Go Community Day today.
I'm like, the only thing I can think of is like, because it sounds like this person has been in other campaigns, and it sounds like they're just trying to like, well, one, they have like the wrong idea of D&D in general.
Yeah.
Like it's something that you can win.
Yeah.
But also that they're trying to take advantage of a new DM in order to win D&D. You know what I mean?
And that's just shitty.
It's shitty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, continuing.
Yes, continue the story, please.
I messaged H on the matter and she denied everything, saying the others were telling us to bully her and get her kicked out. She never would do such things. She mentioned that she had regular conversations with another player who we'll call A and would vent about how she felt unwelcome and bullied in our campaign. She never once mentioned those things to me. She's told me how this has been going on since session 1 and that all the other players hate her because she's more advanced at D&D and has played more games and has more knowledge. According to her, the other players were jealous of her skills and wanted to get her kicked out. I ran this by the other players and it turned out to all be lies. Shocker. I was done. I didn't want this kind of behavior in my campaign anymore. Either she would leave or I would quit. Those were the options. I sent her a kind message asking her to clarify some statements given from both me, her, and other players. She didn't have an answer for any of them and accused me of bullying. I was done. I sent her a message calmly explaining what had been happening and that I'm basically done with her behavior this way. She again accused me of bullying and threatened to do a lot of weird things if I continued like this. I just pulled the plug right there and then and asked her to leave the game. She did not. I went to... Sorry.
She did not? Like, no,
Yeah.
I don't leave your game. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll pick up the game and go play it somewhere else where you aren't.
Yeah. So, sorry, I read that wrong. She did not, went to harass the other players, so I blocked her from the server. She continued to harass one of my players, taunting them that they were going to create a much better campaign themselves. Last thing I heard was that H is very afraid of me and doesn't want to get near me. Positive news.
Good.
My campaign is currently thriving. Another friend asked to play along, so we found our 6th player. Everyone's having a great time, and I'm slowly becoming better at DMing.
Gosh.
That's...
Hey, at least the DM stood up for themselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And kicked them.
It still sucks, but like at least they, were able to put their foot down in the end.
Yeah. Like,
I just can't imagine being that type of person.
yeah, like the most the fudging the rolls is the fucking weirdest. Like I've known
It's a common problem. Like
I've known someone who like we suspected of fudging a few rolls here and there.
Yeah.
Namely, like every time he would roll up with a character, like one of the stats would be a 20. Just conveniently.
Yeah.
I've never rolled a character and managed to get a 20 stat. Never.
Mm-mm. I think the closest I got was Bear.
Yeah.
I think in the end, Bear still had the 19
I don't
strength.
think I've ever rolled up a character that had a stat higher than an 18.
But yeah, like he would always like roll, like supposedly roll when he was rolling for his stats, like roll an 18 and then like racial bonus or whatever have like the 20 in it.
That's crazy.
This was also the same player that, like, everything he was in, he wanted to be Goku. So, like,
Oh, okay.
he wanted to be the main character and
It's just, I don't know, the
love him,
fudging
but
the
I can't play with
rolls-
him.
The fudging the rolls just is wild to me. But
Well, it's not like it has any like real world impact. So I'm like, why do you need to lie about it?
well, it's like if you are amazing at everything, it's not fun. Like, where's the
Mhm.
Yeah,
interest?
no.
And there's no like risk for the reward,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's just a weird thing that people do. I've never understood it.
Oh,
And then
and,
if
like-
you get caught, then they're not gonna let you roll your pretty dice, and that's
Right.
sad.
Yeah. Just think, like, and their reasoning for it was, like, fucking stupid, too.
Yeah.
Because that would be like when I started playing with you guys, if I just like made something like went with a complete Munchkin build, like just think, oh, I'm just so much better at D&D
I'm
than
just
you
better
guys.
at D&D.
Already played D&D
Like-
before, so I know things.
So I'm
and I
like
Like-
kind of an
better.
expert. It's like you're like kind of a dick. Oh my gosh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that they
I can
settled
imagine
that.
being like that.
Mhm. And I only screenshot one comment, but it was sounds like you got to the right place. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
Your
Mhm.
story also illustrates the reason for one of my life lessons, which is don't bother explaining. Explaining invites a retort and argument, which 99% of the time is not what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with
So.
somebody so combative like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready
Yeah.
for the
Ready for the
next
next
one.
one?
Oh yes, of course.
Hit us.
Yeah. This one is titled Problem Player or Me Being Unreasonable.
Oh no.
I started DMing for a group of new players that have read up on, watched, or seen some D&D related content over the last year or so, mostly to help give them the experience. I told them basically my DM style is pretty chill, so if they don't like something they've done to their character, we can work it out and change it without much issue. I get it that most people usually have regrets with their first character, so I'm pretty easygoing in regards to that. Everything seems to be going smoothly. Smoothly?
I was about to say smoothie.
Smoothie.
Yeah,
Strawberry
we can make
banana.
fun
Tasty.
of we can make fun of my reading. Out of the blue, a player said they wanted to talk to me and started saying there were things they didn't care for, basically wanting the game to be harder with no hints, which I get, so I worked on it. Then after that came the complaint about resources I use not being as good as other options. Then another about pacing, which is affected by the lack of hinting to a new group that's never played before. And now in-game mechanics seem to be the newest target. I've talked to personal DM friends that got me into D&D, and the consensus from them is pretty much they don't like it, they don't have to play, or kick them out if they're adding unnecessary stress to DMing the game. Thoughts?
I mean, you're DMing for a table. You're not necessarily catering to one individual,
person.
you know?
Mhm.
I mean, if everybody
Mhm.
else is having a good time, then it's sort of odd that this one person has such a problem. I mean, normally the way to avoid some of this would be, like, to make sure everything's covered in a session 0. But, like,
Mhm.
if they just randomly just start deciding that they have problems with the way the game's going, like, I don't know. What mechanics issues are they having? Like, I don't.
Yeah. I mean,
Resources? Like, what? I don't.
Yeah.
Some of the problems seem bizarre to me.
Yeah. Oh, and there are a couple where it's like, I can see like some like the pacing thing. Like
Sure.
if you've only ever watched, actual play games like Critical Role or Dimension 20, like those are people that do that professionally.
Yeah.
And they're
Mhm.
also incredible actors who are really good at improv. And so
Yes.
they can keep things going constantly. Your average people aren't gonna fucking do that.
No.
Now, I would argue, having watched a ton of Critical Role, they have some pacing issues in some episodes.
They
There's
do.
some
They do,
episodes
yeah.
that I'm like, oh my goodness, nothing
Honestly,
happened.
I think the most unrealistic example of pacing would be Dimension 20 because
Mm-hmm.
those games are way shorter and tighter,
Mhm.
and they're built around like
You have to cram a lot into a
legitimate
shorter period of
scenes, like,
time.
that one. And I mean, I don't know how much they edit out, but those are also like they're not live
Yeah.
games. They're edited. So, I mean, I
And
feel
again,
like
with Dimension 20, they're all like, all of them are improv
they're
people.
literally all like,
Like-
improv comedians. Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if a lot of the pacing of a story is reliant on the players, you know? I mean, although, I mean, there's things that a DM can do to sort of push the story along, but like, you know, if y'all want to stop in a town and shop for 2 hours, I'm gonna let you do that.
Yeah.
Will it affect the pacing? I guess, but if everybody's having a good time, then what does it matter, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's the important part, because like, and with them talking about mechanics, it's just like, are there specific mechanics in D&D specifically that kind of irk me, or I'm confused as to why they are the way they are? Yeah, sure, but like, it's just something you accept in the
Yeah.
game that
I
like
mean, it's just part
Well,
of the
it's
game.
like, as we discovered with like the Pathfinder one shot, I would love to be able to say, hey, I'm not moving this round. I'm going to give up my movement for an extra attack. At like some sort of disadvantage, right? Like that kind of stuff. I like that in Pathfinder, and I feel like D&D could improve that mechanic a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's not, you're playing D&D, you're not playing Pathfinder. Yeah, you can homebrew or house rules some things, but like, if the whole party's not into that,
I
you're
find
not
it
gonna hate
odd that somebody's like, I've got an issue with the mechanics. Like, it's like, that's the game. Like, I don't know. It's like, they're
like
in the rules. I don't, what.
It's like a core thing. Like,
Unless they're made up mechanics for a totally different thing. But like, I don't know. It's just weird. Just odd.
Yeah. And at that point, I feel like with that person, it's just like, just don't play D&D, or
Well,
like
it's
find another system,
clearly-
or like
it kind of seems to me like this person is looking for a different experience, and maybe needs to be at a different table. Maybe they want something more fast-paced and gritty and
play Warhammer with an RP group. Like,
yes, I mean, clearly whatever's happening at this table is not for them. I don't.
It sounds like this table's pretty laid back, as if like there might be a lot of RP going on.
Yeah,
sounds lovely.
It does.
Delightful.
Sounds very lovely.
Can't think of anybody that does that.
Goodness gracious, not us.
No, that would
definitely
never.
not.
We've never gone like 5 episodes without fighting.
Pay no attention to like the past 6 episodes, 7 episodes that happened.
I
I
know.
think 2 of those we fought, and then like
Yeah.
actually
We've been fighting
6
more
or 7.
now.
Yeah, I was about to
But,
say I
like,
missed 2 weeks of
There
the
was a
fighting.
long chunk in there where we did not fight at all.
Yeah.
And I love that none of us had an issue with that.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all.
Hey, as long as we can like come together and I don't have to be myself for like 3 hours,
Right?
I'm fine. I'm
As long as we
totally
get
fine.
to escape the real world for a few
Yeah.
hours.
Peace
Truly
out from
need.
real life.
And that's something, D&D is supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be fun for everyone. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you are a DM or a player and you're not having fun, something
Yeah.
needs to be done. Either you remove yourself from the situation, you have a discussion with the
Yeah.
group as a whole, like be adults about it, talk things out, figure out what needs to happen.
And not all tables, you can be friends with people, and when you play with them, it doesn't work out. It's kind of like you
Yeah.
can be friends with people, but you can't be roommates with everybody. Like, you know, everybody's going to have different styles. Everybody's going to be looking for something different. That's
Absolutely.
why you got to look around and, like, figure out what works best for you. We lucked out, which is great, but, I mean,
Love it.
some people got to, like, shop around for the right table, you know?
Mhm.
Literally.
Next one.
Okay.
Oh, we go one more.
Yeah, we can do one more. Let's see.
Yeah.
Right here. When trash takes itself out.
Oh, this is gonna
I
be
love that
good.
title.
This is gonna
Nice.
be good.
Nice.
Group of 6 players. Problem player started off as a human barbarian male. The character was fine, but the player wasn't. After both the first 2 sessions, she messaged me saying she didn't think her character fit in, which is fair, but I suggested since the party had only just met that she give it another couple of weeks to see if the other PCs started gelling better with her guy. It wasn't until she changed characters that things really started to go downhill. She made a female elf character that most of the party messaged me with concerns that she was built specifically for romance with one of the other PCs.
Oh no.
I let it happen because the other player involved enjoyed role-playing and it was kept PG. He put a lot of effort into his RP while she just flirted. Now, I know. Problem Player had insisted she'd played a lot of D&D before and even DM'd a long campaign and loved roleplay and interacting with a living world, but didn't seem to know the basic mechanics of the game or how to start conversations with PCs or NPCs. At one point, she argued with me about a ruling I made and told me in private to tell off another player. She was rude in character and seemed to expect there to be zero consequences. It went so far that after she snuck back into the inn the party had been kicked out of due to her behavior, and of course insisted she didn't need to roll stealth, I got her to roll anyway after a minor argument. She then dashed down the stairs and out the main doors with her giant direwolf and disappeared into a tree when confronted by a guard. She also had the habit of just appearing where other PCs were and joining in conversations, regardless of timeline or distance, and turning the conversation round to her. If, gods forbid, that failed in character, she'd scream, cry, make noises, or generally cause a nuisance until she was the center of attention. She then picked up a small-sized PC whose player warned her several times not to, who then cut off her pinky fingers. Tabaxi Rogue rolled high at 24. And then insisted it wouldn't interfere with her ability to do anything, and she didn't bleed as she ran away. I had the guard follow her anyway. She squawked, yes, the sound a cartoon bird makes, and yelled metagaming when players chatted. No metagaming, they were just chatting out of game as we sometimes do. She insisted on constant in-game roleplay, but never actually joined in roleplay. At this point, I'm becoming increasingly frustrated with her behavior and having to speak to her after every session. We had only had 3 sessions at that point. She constantly messaged me.
All of this happened within 3 sessions?
Yeah.
Oh
insane.
my god.
She needs to go. Sorry, continue.
She constantly messaged me telling me she wanted to quit, so I told her if that's how she felt, then maybe find a more suitable table. Quick U-turn and she's finally fine. 4 a.m. my time, the night before session, which starts at 2 p.m. Sundays. Rolls on morning. I'm exhausted and a little upset, but ready to have fun at the virtual table. Nope. Morning rage quit message. Everyone else's fault, and I'm a bad DM. What can I do except delete, block, tell the party, who are relieved and grateful, and get them playing? Session is the smoothest ever. Yay, team! 3 of the 5 players were messaged by Problem Player, begging them to ask me to let her back and that she made a mistake.
No.
Yep, too bad.
No.
I now have 5 amazing players who work wonderfully together and are much happier. DMs, please don't let Problem Players suck the fun out of this game. For everyone, there are 5 great ones ready to sit at your table.
Yeah.
That resolved itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my god. All of that within 3 sessions.
3 sessions!
Holy shit.
Good lord.
Oh my god.
It's funny because I just made a video about red
Problem
flags
players.
to look out for
Oh, yeah.
in players. And yeah, she's definitely exhibiting a few of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And it's like the issue with the one person that I played with who the way I describe it is he wanted to be Goku.
Yeah.
She wanted to be the main character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She wanted to be the main character so bad. And
You can't.
it's never no,
It's
it's
a
a group game.
Yeah. It's collaborative storytelling. It has to be a group. One person doesn't get all the spotlight, And it's just not, you can't insert yourself into every single scene. Other people need moments to be in character.
Oh, and that's also
Well,
she's screaming metagaming and then just showing up in conversations where she wasn't. And
Yeah,
it's like,
right?
how'd you know that was happening?
Look up the definition of the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I felt bad whenever, my character stuff gets intense. I know there's no way we could have planned Father Mackenzie, but that was an unexpected, my character is in hot water and, we've got to,
only way
deal with this.
Yeah.
for everyone else
And,
to survive
after,
that I can think of.
yes,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. And it's like, I feel bad because it feels like the spotlight's on me too much, you know? Like, this is the opposite problem. I'm like, can we, let me take a back seat
You want
for a
somebody
minute.
else to have the attention for a bit.
It's like, I don't like this. I am uncomfortable. Well, and like I try my best to try and balance things between characters. And like, even though you were separate from the party, like, we didn't spend all of our time with you. I mean,
Right.
you weren't on the airship that fell out of the sky.
Right. Well, I was playing a character that was, which,
Yeah.
worked out nicely. I didn't just sit for the entire session.
Yeah. But, some people will just insert themselves into every possible scenario. I'm glad she removed herself, basically.
Honestly, best outcome of that whole situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Best way that could have turned out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, one person's pissed, but like the whole rest of the group's fine and
Exactly.
doesn't
Seemed
have to worry
happier.
about you being a bitch anymore.
Yeah, right?
Like,
Literally. Gosh.
So I
a
screenshotted
win-win.
my favorite response.
oh,
So did this stealth roll include the giant direwolf? And did it also disappear into the tree? Because I want to see that.
That's what I
And
was
someone
thinking.
said, right. And someone said, a direwolf vanishing into a tree would be amazing to see. You now have me wondering on ways I could have that happen. And OP responded, oh no, the direwolf conveniently did a disappearing into the night because of course it left no tracks or anything. Facepalm.
Man.
yeah.
Man. Yeah, that's a whole mess.
Direwolves.
Direwolves are huge.
Yeah, I was
They're
about to say,
big.
conveniently leaving
They're
no
big
tracks. That
dogs.
thing's like 700 pounds.
That thing ain't.
Like, at least.
That's not disappearing.
No.
Not
No,
easily. Oh,
And it's
man.
Definitely
Also,
leaving some
unless it's
tracks.
like a 500-year-old oak tree, it's not getting up into a tree either.
Hell no. Just breaking
Yeah,
that shit
right?
down.
Man.
Oh gosh.
Well, this was a lovely selection of stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the end, if you're a dungeon master, try to set some ground rules in session 0, and don't be afraid to talk to the people that are exhibiting some problematic behaviors, and if it comes down to it, you have every right to remove them from the game.
Yeah. Show them the
And
door.
It'll be, your game will run smoother for it. If they can't learn, if they can't adjust, then they need to go, unfortunately. There are many tables out there in the world. They will find one that works for them, I'm sure.
Maybe.
Maybe. If they adjust their personalities and become better people.
Learning from past actions?
Yeah,
What is this?
weird. Crazy.
Personal growth?
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of us reacting to some Reddit stories. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. More importantly, leave a comment down below. Tell us about some problem players you have seen or had experiences with. Tell us about stories you've heard from other DMs, other players. I'd love to hear all the juicy details, and we will be replying down below. But with all of that said and done, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and I will see you again next time. Bye!